Hi, welcome to Box on the Box, Rock and Cellular, Bot Brat for short. I'm Weber Box. So today I'm going to rank the albums by British metal stalwart Saxon. I've done 24 studio albums. There is a couple of covers albums, there is re-recordings of some classic songs, but I've done 24, but I'm going to add in a 25th to get around number, a little wild card. But let's go for it. So number 25, I'm going to go for their album Forever Free, which came out in 1992. I should say, Saxon have never made a bad album. There's some albums are a lot better than others, and this is an album where, it's missing a bit of quality. With the title track and Iron Wheels, I do like. Plus, there's a few other tunes which are probably pretty decent. But that's my 25 choice. My 24 choice is Dogs of War. So this is the album that comes immediately after. Title track's really cool. Walking in Tokyo is another good track. I think the issue is here, Graham Oliver's still in the band, and the band is kind of working out how to kind of get heavier and where they fit in. And I think the lineup change that happens will enable them to do that and improve their sort of foothold in Europe, which is where the market is at the time. So again, not a bad album, and some good tracks. Next, I'm going for Destiny. So this is an album that got knocked at the time for its commerciality, but it's got that great cover of Wild Ride Like the Wind, and there is some other good tracks like SOS, When the Lightning Strikes, and so on. I think the songwriting's good on it. It's just too lightweight, as I Can't Wait Anymore. I mean, quite a nice track. But the band, veering after trying to go a bit heavy rock nations, going back into that Innocence Is No Excuse kind of territory with a European producer, but going even lighter. But that's my 23rd choice. 22nd choice, maybe a bit controversial having this, but it's a solid ball of rock. So a lot of people really like this album. I like the title track and All of the Gods and so on. The title track still played live. Not actually written by Saxon, funnily enough. Really good track, really powerful track. I think it was Saxon, after the Destiny album, it was them. Right, we need to make a heavier album. And it's a really good song, We Will Remember, which I really like. They used to play that on Raw Power and actually got on a bit of notice, playing tribute to the fallen idols up until that point. This kind of got Saxon back a little bit more respect, certainly in Europe, and probably helped their survival. A very difficult time for them, this period. Number 21 is Rock the Nations. I'll just get it up on my wiki here. Title track was good, and Battle Cry is the kind of typical battle track the Saxon do that would work well now. And Waiting for the Night was okay for a commercial track, but We Came Here to Rock and You Ain't No Angel weren't that good. Running Hot was good fun, and Empty Promises, but Party Till You Puke, obviously I could do without Northern Lady. It had some good stuff on it, and the production I think was a bit of harder hitting by Gary Lyons, a bit of a better guitar sound. So my next choice is their debut album, Saxon. What's weird about this album is it doesn't fully sound like Saxon. It's kind of like Rock and Roller in that respect, by Judas Priest, or Lonesome Crow by the Scorpions. There's elements that sound like the band you're going to know to love, but it's not quite formed yet. But I think tracks like Backs to the Wall and Stand Is the Highway certainly would have fitting on the debut album. There's not really any track I really dislike on this album, and Knocks a Killer Still Fit to Boogie. It's a bit lightweight, the guitar sounds, it's a bit dead, the production. I think John Verity's trying to kind of layer in big vocal harmonies, and it's just not metal enough, really. Okay, my number 19 choice is Sacrifice. Here we are, sorry, I've just got it up here. So the title track's really good, Made in Belfast I liked. Then it's a bit of a kind of drop off, and then Walking the Steel, Night of the Wolf and Wheels of Terror are good fun. I'd say this album's a solid 6 out of 10. It benefits from Andy Sneap's mix, but I think they've yet to kind of form a more secure partnership with Andy Sneap. So it's a little harsher production. But again, a good, this is a decent album in a solid run of albums. Then same for Into the Labyrinth, which is my next choice. I was really excited for this album at the time. I do love Battalions of Steel, although I'm not so sure about the orchestrations. Live to Rock was never keen on that track. Their band seemed to play it live, but I wasn't massive on it. Demon Sweeney Todd was good. Valley of the Kings was good. Slow Lane Blues I like as well. Crime of Passion had a good riff. Protect Yourselves was another one. And Come Rock of Ages. So it does have some good tracks on this album, but I think it's sort of let down by the other tracks. Last album produced produced by Charlie Beaufind, who did a really good job for the band. Okay, so onwards, and then we go up to Call to Arms again. This is sort of part of this run of albums where, to me, they've had a strong run, and these are kind of dipping, but not too bad. Quite strange production on this, produced by Toby Jepson. I think sort of recorded a little more on the cheap. It's a bit harsh sounding, mastering's very loud, but some good tracks again. Hammer of the Gods was good back in '79, like those. Mists of Avalon, I liked. When Doomsday Comes from Hybrid Theory soundtrack, whatever that was. And Ballad of the Working Men was another good one. So again, a solid 6 out of 10. You know, some good tunes. I saw them on this tour. So yeah, 2011. Then we've got number 16, I've got The Inner Sanctum. So again, this is an album a lot of people rave about. I think the reason for that is they did a documentary and this got a bit more traction for them in the UK, but I think the albums that came before are a lot better. I'm not keen on State of Grace, the opening track. Need for Speed's okay. Let Me Feel Your Power, really good. Red Star Falling, it's got its fans, it's maybe a bit long for me. I've Got a Rock to Stay Alive was good fun. And as was If I Was You, I like this track. This was the track they kind of did for the Harvey... the name of the promoter anyway was Get Your Act Together. You know, there's such a thing as any publicity is good publicity, and Saxon did humiliate themselves a bit. You know, they went out and did an air guitar competition at Sunderland Stadium. But, you know, this all got them like, remember Saxon, Going Nowhere Fast, Ashes to Ashes, they were good. And then you had a dull instrumental called Empire Rising and Attila the Hun, which was a shit track. But again, you know, a solid 6 out of 10 for me. You could take your pick from Sacrifice, Inner Labyrinth, Call to Arms and The Inner Sanctum as to what your favourite were out of those, although people would disagree. My next choice is Crusader from 1984. So again, this is their first of their sort of, in the classic period where things kind of dip, but it does have the title track, which is great. I think Sailing to America is a really nice track. Set Me Free, the sweet cover's great. Side 2, Just Let Me Rock, Bad Boys Like Rock, they're okay. Do All For You is good ballad. Run For Your Lives is good. I mean, Rock City was alright. It probably has, you know, 3 or 4 really quality tracks. It was let down by tepid production. Saxon needed to make a corker with this album, but they didn't. But it's not as bad a record as some people think. It's got a great album cover. You know, kept the band in the consciousness. So that's my number 15 choice. My number 14 choice is Unleash the Beast. So this is the first album with Doug Scarrett. I think it's a key album for them because this is when they start to establish their European power metal sound more. Title track's really good. You got Terminal Velocity, one of my favourite Saxon songs, really good. The Thin Red Line's excellent. And then later on the album, there's a great track, and I've forgotten it. Circle of Light, actually good, that's earlier on, and The Preacher as well. There's not really a bad track on the album. It's probably got like, again, sort of 3 or 4 really corking tracks, but it is better produced as well. I think the band are starting to find how to get some more heaviness down. So Unleash the Beast from 1997, my number 14 choice, and my number 13 choice, I'm going to go for Killing Ground. This is a tight one, this. A good album, this. You've got a great cover of Court of the Crimson King. I really like Deeds of Glory. That's a really cool track. Shadows on the Wall, finishing with a nice epic there. And so on. The production's better on this. I like the sound of it. Doug Scarrett's buried in. So just pipping it is Metalhead. This is the album that's just before it. So this is Doug Scarrett's second album with the band. So I'm now on number 12. Just check my notes there. So Metalhead's got a really heavy sound. The title track's great. You've got things like Piss Off Bond, Prisoner, Sea of Life's got a really cool riff. And so on. I'm trying to remember the names of the tracks here, like Conquistador, Dragon's Lairs on Killing Ground. But I like this, the production's good. Charlie Beaufine gets a really huge sound on this record. So, you know, a little purple patch for them with this. I mean, those albums there, Unleash the Beast, Metalhead, Killing Ground, again, they could be sort of interchangeable. And as with these next ones, which I think are kind of a little notch up. So my number 11 choice is Battering Ram from 2015. I think Andy Sneap, they gel with it more here. It's a good, like the Battering Ram, the Devil's Footprint's good fun. Queen of Hearts has got that nice kind of digital cut on the riff. You got tracks like Destroyer and Hard and Fast, which are decent rockers. Eye of the Storm. I do like Top of the World. And then Kingdom of the Cross, I think, is a really good track. I think this is the best track on the album. I think it's really clever. It's just got spoken word poetry. I think it's from a poem, and then it's just got a chorus. Lovely guitar part, very atmospheric. Really kind of, it's a real armistice, not Armistice Day. You know, when we go to the Cenotaph, you know, it's the kind of song you could put on that day to remember the war dead. It really captures that. So I think this is a good sounding record. It's a solid record. And my next choice was very close. It's the album that comes after, which is Thunderbolt. Just getting it up. I didn't like this as much when it came out, but when I went back to it, of course, as usual, it starts with an instrumental, Olympus Rising this time. But the title track's good, Thunderbolt. You've got The Secret of Flight. Nosferatu's really good. I went to see him live on his tour, and Biff made a crucifix sign and was bathed in white light. They played Rock and Roll, which is a tribute to Motorhead, which is really good. Obviously, Saxon, you know, toured with Motorhead. Predator's not too good, but Sons of Odin's good. I'm not keen on Sniper, but A Wizard Tale is another one. Speed Merchants is a good song. It's kind of like, you know, another Formula One driving song. And then the Roadie song's good fun. You know, I maybe prefer Battering Ram. This is a close one. But anyway, I'm picking this number 10 today. So my number 9 choice is the new beat. It's Hellfire and Damnation. I think this is a strong record. It may go up, it may go slightly down. Like I say, I'm thinking really across Unleash the Beast to this album. You know, you could move these around. But I'm impressed with this. Production's good with Andy Sneap. Brian Tatler's done good, you know. It's difficult losing Paul Quinn, but they've got to go on. The title track's really good on this. I do like the song about Luxembourg Radio Caroline. If you're more interested, I've done a review on this recently. So it's chock a flock of good tracks. It's easily a 7, 8 out of 10. I love the artwork. You know, the band, they need to make strong records. You know, all bands need to make strong statements, and they continue to do that. So we'll see where this kind of, you know, fits in over the years. My next choice might be controversial. Is Innocence Is No Excuse. I've always really liked this album. I think the first 6 tracks are really strong. The production doesn't bother me. It is polished, but I think it's a better sounding record than Crusader. The guitar solos are good, bass vocals are good. I think what lets it down is the last 4 tracks are decent, but I find them a little interchangeable. So the album kind of tails off at just a different running order or something, just to make that back end of it a bit stronger. I think the artwork let it down as well. I think, again, Saxon needed to make an up-to-date metal cover, and then they just had that weird cover. But that's my number 8 choice. My number 7 choice is Carpe Diem. So this is their second to most recent album. I thought it was excellent. I wouldn't call it a return to form. It was on the back of a run of stronger records, and it really hit the spot. Loads of good stuff on this. The good thing about this album is even the sort of lesser tracks are good. Songs like Dam Busters. I forget what the last track's called. But, you know, there's tracks in there where it just keeps the flow going. The title track's very good. The song about the woman, the ghost, you know, it's a really good record from start to finish. You know, easily an 8 out of 10, 8.5. Definitely their best album in a while. And then, this is my wild card. So I said I was going to do 25 albums. I'm putting in The Eagle Has Landed, the original live album. When this came out, it was 1982. bands were doing live albums, this is still like a key kind of Saxon thing. I know Saxon done live albums since then, but this is a key record. This is the sort of record Saxon fans would buy, or someone might buy if they're wanting to check out Saxon at the time. So like an album like Live After Death, Unleashed in the East, Tokyo Tapes, it kind of, it's almost like a studio album in a way, because people will use it as a way to access those studio recordings. It could have done with being a double, but it kind of benefit from that Unleashed in the East thing where it's just a single. Cool track on this is Fire in the Sky. That's the kind of outlier track. It's not a track you would expect on there, and it's really cool. Obviously you get Denim and Leather and other tracks, you get the classics, and the band was such a well-oiled machine by then, and like a lot of bands there, the studio albums didn't quite have that great production up to that point, so this was more robust. And so those live versions of studio classics really benefited from that. If you get like the CDs version, look at it online, you get an extended version with extra tracks like Unleashed in the East that puts it into a double album. And so that's my wild card. I mean, I would put that at number 6. And then we're into that run of classic albums, and I've got another shock for you. But my next choice is Power and the Glory. It's just quite a difficult one. I think what stopped me from putting this album higher, I think it's the best sounding Saxon album of their early albums. But the principal reason is it has only 2 sort of classic tracks, Eagles Langland and Power and the Glory. Now there's other tracks I really love, and that's why it's up this high, but they're not as well known. You've got Red Line, you've got Warrior, you've got the excellent This Town Knows How to Rock, which does a big Van Halen boogie and kind of predates it, with fantastic drumming by Nigel Glockley. He really makes his mark on this album. Jeff Glicksman's production, he's probably used isolation cabinets to get more bottom end and crunch in the guitars. It's a shame they didn't do more work with him, because he understood how to make them a little more commercial but keep a big sound, and this is by quite a margin their best sounding album of their early releases. So it's an album that's grown on me over the years, like Nightmare's good, Watching the Skies, they're all good. Next up is Denim and Leather, so I think this just pipped Power and the Glory because it's got those 4 classics on, Denim and Leather, Never Surrender, and Blind's Played on, Prince of the Night, but it's got great tracks, Fire in the Sky, and my favourite track on the album, Midnight Rider. The other tracks are filler, but they are good fun. It's kind of a definitive sort of Saxon release, a lot of hits on this. And it just captures it's kind of like the last hurrah of New Woburn, really, in that it's really celebrating the whole era of 1980-81. So my number 4 choice. Number 3 is, and this was a difficult one, I'm going for Strong Arm of the Law. Again, you could switch this with Denim and Leather, but it's got great tracks, Strong Arm of the Law, Heavy Metal Thunder, the classic Dallas 1pm, and that wonderful Deep Cut Hungry Years, which was a single. It'd be nice for them to bring that back. And then Sixth Form Girls, my sort of lovely outlier track on the album. 20,000 Feet, I'm not as into, but it is good. And To Hell or Back Again, but then Taking Your Chances is really good as well. This is 8-track album, it's an Outstates Welcome. Had that great Gatefold sleeve with all the tour pictures. Brilliant. So my number 2 choice is 2004's Lionheart. Now this may be a shock to people, but I think this is an excellent noughties traditional / power metal album by the band. The quality of the writing's really good all the way through, and it has standout cuts like Man and Machine, the title track, To Live by the Sword. It's excellent, and English Manowar, really good. Searching for Atlantis, Flying on the Edge, with great production. The partnership with the producer Charlie Beaufind really paid dividends on this. They really got a brilliant sound with this. It's got a very big drum sound, but it's tight. The guitars are crunchy. The performances by the band are excellent. When the opening track, Witchfinder General, is your weakest track on the album, it's good. It shows you the quality of this, and that's what's made me put this up there. It is a 9 out of 10 for me. I think a lot of people, when you rate this album, and I think the band think this is pretty special. Although in England people tend to rave about In the Sanctum and other things, this is the album to go back to. This is the album that really grew Saxon back. Like, right, we are an established European force again. That's, and then they could get back in the UK and, the back headlining festivals, doing cool tours. People forget. Saxon, they're doing the gigs with Priest. They've headlined City Hall in Newcastle many times now. But back in the 90s and early noughties, they couldn't get arrested in the UK. Couldn't get arrested. So it's a great story. It's a story of perseverance, and the Englishness of this album sort of captures that. It kind of encapsulates the whole Saxon story. So my number one choice, no surprise here. Some might disagree. People do prefer Strong Arm. Some people prefer Down in the Leather. But this is the first Saxon album I heard. I was there watching Top of the Pops in 1980. It's Wheels of Steel. I think this is a great record. You got Wheels of Steel, Stand Up and Be Counted, 747, Shield Like Shining, Machine Gun. Absolutely brilliant tracks. I'm trying to remember the other track, but you've got fun tracks like Street Fighting Man, Freeway Mad, and then Susie Hold on the band doing that kind of commercial thing that they would do throughout the career, really. I'm trying to remember what the track is. I've missed it out of my head then. But I just love this record. It's maybe not as consistent as it could be. I would argue something like Lionheart, is more consistent, but it is a classic, this. It's one of the great metal albums, and it has great metal anthems on it that are part of the very fabric, the very DNA of the music I love, and hopefully other people do. So that's my ranking the Saxon albums from 25 to 1. We'll do some more of this. Remember, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.